The cake that cracked more than a smile. I knew birthdays could be messy, but I never expected mine to end with my sister's hands shoving a cake into my face so hard the world snapped sideways. I remember the smear of frosting, the sting of my lip splitting, and Sloane's laughter, bright, sharp, and utterly deliberate as I hit the floor. People rushed in only to shrug. "It's just a joke, Avery," someone chuckled. While my vision pulsed blue and white, I tried to believe them. I was the steady one, the quiet sister, the one who'd spent a lifetime absorbing Sloane's playful shoves and accidental trips. Our mother, Celia, had a mantra: "Sloane doesn't mean it. You're just too sensitive." So I drove myself home, head throbbing, and tried to swallow the hurt like I always did. But by morning, the pain had sharpened into a vicious, nauseating hammer at the base of my skull. At the ER, Dr. Ruiz's expression changed as he studied my x-ray. "Miss Vance," he said softly, "you have a hairline fracture at the occipital bone, and this isn't your first injury." He clicked to another image. "This rib shows an older fracture, healed but significant, from about 3 years ago." 3 years ago. The accidental fall down the basement stairs. Sloane had been right behind me. A cold clarity washed over me. "You're saying these weren't accidents?" "I'm saying," Dr. Ruiz replied, his voice grave, "this pattern is concerning. I am required to report it." Before I could process his words, a gentle knock came at the door. Detective Miller entered, her calm presence both a comfort and a confirmation that my world was about to fracture in ways the X-ray couldn't show. The unraveling truth. "Avery, I need you to walk me through the injuries," Detective Miller said, her notebook open, "starting with last night." I recited the history: the birthday shove, the staircase fall, the mysterious coffee table bruise when we were teens, the twisted ankle during a family hike where Sloane had tried to catch me. Each incident, once isolated and minimized, now formed a sinister constellation. "And after each event, did anyone discourage you from seeking help?" The question unlocked a vault. "Sloane always did," I whispered. "She'd say I was being dramatic, that doctors were for real emergencies." My mother would agree. I remembered Sloane pressing an ice pack to my ribs years ago, her voice sweet with false concern. "Don't make a scene, Ave. You know how Mom worries." The door flew open before Miller could respond. Celia swept in, my stepfather Martin trailing behind her. "Avery, what is this nonsense?" she demanded, her face a mask of performative outrage. "You're embarrassing the family over a birthday prank." "Mrs. Vance," Detective Miller said, rising, her tone leaving no room for argument, "this is a medical and legal matter. I need you to wait outside." For the first time in my life, I didn't rush to soothe my mother's temper. "She's right, Mom," I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "This isn't about embarrassment. It's about a fracture in my skull." Celia stared, betrayal flashing in her eyes. Not betrayal of Sloane's actions, but of my refusal to keep the peace. Once they were ushered out, Miller turned back to me. "We've requested the restaurant security footage. In the meantime, where do you feel safest?" The question was a lifeline and a verdict. I didn't feel safe at all. The witness and the web. I didn't go home. I went to a quiet hotel, paid for in cash. The solitude was heavy, but it was mine. On the second day, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. It was my aunt, Mira, my mother's estranged sister. "Avery, I saw the news about an assault at the Oak Room," she said, her voice urgent. "I knew it was Sloane. I have to see you." We met in a public park. Mira's hands shook as she clutched her coffee. "I've held this in for 20 years, she began. "When you were 12 and fell down the stairs at Christmas, I was at the top landing, Avery. I saw Sloane shove you." The memory flooded back, the shock of the fall, the glitter of the holiday decorations from the floor, Sloane's wide, innocent eyes as she cried, "She just slipped." I tried to tell your mother, Mira said, tears welling. She called me jealous, said I wanted to cause drama. She cut me off for years after that. She took a shuddering breath. And 3 years ago, after your grandmother's funeral, I overheard Sloane on the phone. She was furious that Gran left you the Victorian house. She said, accidents happen, and if Avery were less capable, I'd be the obvious heir to manage the estate. A cold dread solidified in my stomach. This wasn't just random cruelty, it was calculated, a campaign. Detective Miller called an hour later. The security footage is clear, she said, her voice tight. Sloane looks around, waits until you're off balance, and uses 2 hands to drive the cake into your face with clear force. It was intentional. She paused. We also executed a search warrant. Avery, we found a journal in her bedside table. It lists dates, your dates of injury, and a section titled Future Considerations. It mentions your daily jogging route, your habit of sleeping with the balcony door open. The world tilted. My own sister wasn't just mean, she was a strategist of harm. We have enough, Miller said. We're moving to arrest. We'd like to do it at a family meeting, with you present. She needs to see that her audience is gone. Celia insisted on hosting a family mediation at her home that Sunday, convinced she could smooth everything over. Sloane arrived, radiant and smug, air-kissing cheeks. She shot me a glittering, victorious smile. "So glad you're feeling better, Ave," she cooed. "We were all so worried about your overreaction." Before Celia could start her placating speech, a firm knock echoed. Detective Miller entered with 2 uniformed officers. "Sloane Vance," Miller's voice cut through the room, "you are under arrest for assault in the 2nd degree." Chaos erupted. Celia shrieked. Martin sputtered about lawyers. But Sloane's reaction was the most telling. The pleasant mask didn't just slip, it shattered. "Are you kidding me?" she laughed, a harsh, brittle sound. "For a cake? She's always been a fragile little doll." "The charge is based on evidence of intent and a pattern of harm," Miller stated calmly, reading her rights. Something in Sloane snapped. She whirled on me, her eyes burning with pure, undiluted hatred. "You ruin everything. You with your quiet little life and your perfect inheritance. Grant always loved you best, the pathetic one who needed protecting. I've had to watch you stumble into everything I ever wanted." The room fell silent. Celia stared at her daughter, her face draining of color as decades of denial crashed down around her. "All I ever did was try to make you stronger," Sloane raged as the officers guided her out. "You should thank me." The door closed, leaving a silence more deafening than any scream. In the weeks that followed, Sloane accepted a plea deal: 5 years of probation, mandatory psychological evaluation, and a permanent restraining order. The truth, once set loose, was too damning to fight. Celia entered therapy, finally facing the part she played in enabling a monster by dismissing a victim. Our relationship is now a series of careful, fragile conversations. Some bridges are too burned to cross. The Victorian house my grandmother left me is no longer a source of envy, but a sanctuary. I restored it myself, room by room, and turned it into the Eleanor Center, named for Gran. It's a place for people rebuilding their lives after family trauma, a support group, a resource hub, a testament to the fact that sometimes the family you choose is the one that helps you heal. I still startle at sudden movements. I still have headaches, but the pain is mine now, not a secret to be kept. Sloane taught me that family loyalty should never mean allegiance to your own destruction. And I learned that the strongest thing a person can do is believe the evidence of their own life, especially when someone is trying to convince you it's just a joke. If you felt every moment of this story, you belong here. Don't forget to subscribe to Clara's Revenge for more stories of betrayal, justice, and reclaiming your power.